Hello and welcome to the PC Security channel. This is going to be a really short video where I just show you guys my own security configuration that I use on my host machine for my own protection. I'm going to do this once again because I've been receiving some requests and there have been changes. So basically I just use two programs, not much of fancy stuff, just two security programs and that's it. And the reason being that I don't really need that much security myself, to be honest. Apart from things that are basically beyond user control, I'm pretty well aware of threats and things like that, and I usually deal with most of them myself. So brain.exe, that's my biggest protection. But apart from that, I use Soft Anti-Malware, which is basically, you know what it is. It's an anti-malware program with a behavior blocker, and it has surf protection, file guard, and the behavior blocker as I just stated. And I primarily use this to verify files, whether they're infected or not, because this uses the Bitdefender signatures plus the Soft in-house engine, so dual engines, that's good, and it has a really good detection. If you've seen some of the previous reviews, you'll know that. So that's why I use Soft, just for detection. And I do sometimes use the behavior blocker to see what's going on or to run a file, but primarily for that, things like analyzing what malware is doing, or if I have to run a file on my system that is, well, I don't know whether it's safe or not, I usually go with the second security program that I have, that is Komodo. So this is just Komodo Firewall. I don't use the internet security because I'm using Soft Anti-Malware and the Komodo signatures are not that great. So before we get into Komodo, I'll just show you my settings real quick. So this version 10. Now for protection, I have activated surf protection and file guard and behavior blocker. For malware host, block and notify, phishing host, block and notify, PUP, block and notify, and privacy risks. This is the interesting setting. By default, it is set to do not block anything, but I set it to block silently. Now don't set this to block and notify, or even worse, alert, because it does pop up quite often, and because it's just scanning for privacy risks, a lot of websites will be flagged, even a lot of the ones that you probably think are legitimate websites. Even then, they may have privacy risks. So if you want to block them silently, or you'll just be flooded with a ton of pop-ups. As for file guard, I use the balanced setup. I had this set to thorough for a while, but then realized it wasn't doing that much. It wasn't making that much of a difference, so I decided not to unnecessarily waste system resources and set it back to balance. Basically, that's just telling you when this product is going to scan the files, whether it's going to be on access or when they're modified, or when you just scan. But anyway, I haven't changed any of these settings. Most of these are just set to default, except I don't automatically quarantine threats. Now the reason I don't do that is sometimes they're false positives, and I want to know what exactly is going on my system. I don't like the antivirus quarantining and removing things and that I'm unaware of, and then I'm searching, okay, where's my file, and then I realize, oh, it's in quarantine. But so I always prefer to be asked when a malware is found. But of course, if you're a novice user and you don't know what you're doing, you'd rather have this to quarantine with notification. Now for behavior blocker, not much to see here. No settings, it's just showing you my programs. These are the ones that I have set up rules for and things like that. Scans, I usually do a full scan when I install it and just leave it as it is. After that, I don't do much of scans. And if I just want to check if a system is infected, I'll probably do a malware scan, which is really quick. So it's so quick that the quick scan kind of seems irrelevant to me, so I just either run the malware scan or full scan. Now let's take a look at the settings options, and we have memory usage optimization, which I don't use because I felt the product was a little bit less responsive when I turned this on, so I decided not to use it. I've got 8 gigs of RAM and I'll soon be upgrading to 16, so it makes a little sense to, you know, try to reduce the memory usage. Privacy, default settings, I submit all my thread information to MCSoft. There's no personal information being sent here, so that's not a problem. Automatic updates, as usual. Notifications, I don't like notifications because just imagine me doing a review or recording something and then here pops up a notification from my host machine. That's the traditional nightmare scenario for any YouTube, you know, screen recorder. So let's just turn off everything. That's what I do, apart from, of course, computer restart, application restart notifications, and update notifications for the software, not the signatures. And some people don't even know this, so I'm just mentioning it. You can turn these on and off, so if you're getting the pop-up every time your product is downloading new signatures and you don't want that, you can always turn it off over here. So that's basically it for MCSoft. Now let's go to Komodo and let's take a look at what I do over here. So basically, I'm not using Komodo a lot right now because I don't really deal with that much malware on a daily basis. I mean, I do deal with a ton of malware, but it rarely ever gets to a situation where it's a threat to me or to the host machine. Most of the time it's just me downloading stuff myself intentionally, not the other way around or anything else. But so most of the time Komodo just gets in my way, but this is an indispensable tool for me as a tester because it has a great sandbox, and that allows me to run files inside that and immediately try to find out what the malware is trying to do. So helps me a lot in analyzing stuff, but just as a user, I wouldn't have this. I wouldn't need this, and most of the time it just gets in my way. So in order to prevent that, what I do is I basically spend a lot of time configuring this. So mostly what I do in terms of the security settings for this product, I turn on HIPS in training mode and I leave it that way for quite a while. And after that, I switch to clean PC mode. And I've done a lot of experiments with this, and this turns out to be the best way to easily get Komodo to learn your system. And so, you know, this is the best way to get minimum amount of alerts and the best possible protection that you can manage with that. Of course, if you want better protection, you can just directly go into safe mode, and that'll be a better choice for you. But as I said, for me, because I am a security enthusiast and I'm kind of a power user, so you know, I don't really want the program telling me everything all the time. I don't need it, because usually I know what I'm doing. So, you know, that's why I reduce some of the security over here. And here are all the rules, lots of custom rules, and you've got your rule sets, protected objects. I don't mess with any of these. I'll leave them as it is. Now for the sandbox, again, most people should probably turn on auto sandbox, but I don't do it because, you know, when I run a file, I usually know that it's safe. I don't run it not knowing whether it's safe or not. You know, if I wanted to know, I'd probably just upload it to VirusTotal, and that's just the way I work. So I don't need the sandbox to automatically kick in and isolate files that I'm executing, because when I'm executing it, I want the file to have full privileges. And I've had trouble with this sometimes where, you know, I'm installing a program or something and auto sandbox kicks in and just isolates the program, and then it doesn't work for me, and then I have to deal with a partial install or a messed up install, and that is much worse than not sandboxing it in the first place. But I do use the sandbox a lot, and I use it as a manual tool. So when I have this program that I want to test out, or I want to find out whether it's malicious or not, or if I just want to see what it's going to do, what registry keys it's trying to access and things like that, I run it manually inside the Komodo sandbox and then reset the sandbox. That works great for me, and that is one of the primary reasons why I have this program installed on my computer. Now for VirusScope, this is something that I found pretty interesting. The technology, I haven't seen it in action much, and I'm still hoping that I'm going to see this someday pop up and say, hey, VirusScope found a threat. But it hasn't happened, primarily because my system is clean, and secondary because it's not that sensitive. But anyway, I do enable VirusScope. I don't turn any of these on. So basically, I monitor all applications, not just the sandboxed ones, and I wanted to show me pop-up alerts because that's what I've been trying to see ever since I started testing this product with VirusScope. As for the firewall settings, once again, I have this set to training mode right now because this is a clean install, and I haven't installed this program here for long enough. But usually after this, I'll switch to safe mode, and this is something that I use in the most stock configuration. I do not, get pop-up alerts for this. I just allow requests. And as for Trust Connect alerts, I enable them for unsecured wireless networks only, and everything else, it's just stock the way it comes. I haven't messed with any of this. Now, I don't use their website filtering because just imagine me doing a test in VirtualBox and then Komodo blocks the website, because then there'd be no way to allow it except going back into the program and disabling this. So I just disable it because I don't need it. But any other user, unless you're doing testing in VirtualBox, just turn this on. File rating settings, I use all of these. I have everything turned on, and that's the way I configure Komodo. So these are the two applications I use on my host system. Now, this is not a video that you should use to find out which is the best security for your problems or your security, your computer or whatever. This is my security configuration based on my needs, and my needs are very different from a regular user. So do not just go ahead and install the programs and just do exactly what I said and think that you have the best security possible for your system. That is not going to be the case, and I would totally not recommend doing many of the things that I do over here on your own systems, because everyone has different needs, and based on that you should choose your security programs. This is just for curiosity, but if you are a user like me, if you do some testing yourself and you're an advanced user, you know what you're doing, then these settings will probably work out for you. But don't follow this as a rule of thumb or something like that. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was fun taking a look at how I secure my system. By the way, apologies for this window blocking some of the screen during the whole test. There's really no way for me to get rid of it, even if I hit the show desktop button, it goes away. But if I try to maximize anything else, it's going to come back. There's no way to minimize this unless we had multiple screens or multiple desktops, which is possible in Linux and Mac OS X, but not in Windows yet, so that sucks. Anyway, the nice thing is Windows 10 does bring that functionality. So I've just been formatting my external hard drive in this full format, which means it checks for bad sectors and wipes the drive, so it's gonna take a long time. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Once again, apologies for this window being stuck here. Hope you don't mind, and I'll see you in the next video. Stay informed, stay secure.